Hi, I'm Maria,
Hi guys, I'm Marin.
and we are Chili Pandano Games, the creators of Tomica. Our first project is the game Tomica, for which we have created a short initial demo that got us the Indie Game of the Week award in July 2021. And after analyzing the feedback, we are in the path of creating an official demo that will present future Tomica in the best light possible. Our goal is to grow alongside our community by creating educational content about the art and engine work that goes into game development. The team started from ground zero, and we are eager to show you how we progress by continuous learning and sharing the knowledge we have.
So what are we here to present to you? This initial video is meant to make you familiar with the project Tomica that we're making. We're here to tell you the initial steps that we took as game developers, as indie game developers with no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah, let's talk about how Tomica came to life. So, Tomica is based on a real life character. She is actually my dog. I found her in the surroundings of a village, and she was like this small and weighed about 1 kilo, basically a bag of bones. And she is a very lovely dog, but she has one kind of personality because she is very scared of almost everything that's around her. Yeah, that's Tomica. The very first idea for this game was quite different than it is now, of course.
Every idea goes through a lot of changes, and I hope that some of you guys that are watching right now want to be game developers just like us, and I hope that this is going to be interesting to you.
We had to make a pitch for a game, and the idea for the game was for it to be a puzzle platformer single player game. You basically guide a stray dog throughout these environments. At the beginning, it drops you into a mysterious environment, and while you explore, you understand that you are actually in this parallel world. We're gonna talk more about these types of worlds later, because it's kind of confusing. It was kind of confusing, but now it's better. So one day Marin was like, let's make this idea you had an actual game. And that's basically how it all started. We gathered a bunch of references and photos and ideas for this game that we were gonna pitch to some of our colleagues, in the hope we became something like a team.
I initially had another idea for another game that was inside my head, but it had to involve a lot of 3D modeling and stuff. We know so many people that can draw. Why not pitch them the idea, the thing that you're about to see right now? It all got jumbled up in this Tomica final vision that you're going to see.
Yeah, so the first thing we wanted to present was all the levels we came up with. The first level of Tomica is in a forest. You wake up under this big tree on top of a picnic table.
We wanted to create this kind of atmosphere that is peaceful and serene, but at the same time start to implement that mechanic of the fear level that we're going to talk about a little bit later, and then afterwards show you. Because Tomica, as Maria said, Tomica is actually afraid of almost everything. So we wanted to put some obstacles around her. So what you see is we thought about a puddle because she's scared of bodies of water. We thought about the idea of this being a place where some kind of a country road passes through the forest. So probably a car is going to pass around, and you're going to have some other noises, random noises from the forest, like imagine birds or some kind of other animal that is making some kind of a sharp and scary noise.
Something big had to pass by and scare her, so we thought about this big truck, maybe a garbage truck, passing by and scaring her, and then she escapes into a pipe.
Yes, something like a flood pipe. We use the pipe to convey that some time has passed and some distance was covered, but the player couldn't see where the dog is actually going to end up. So in a way, this was an excuse to use the pipe as a passage, a smooth passage to the next level. And so this initial forest level actually gives you the idea of how you're going to use your controls to move around with the player pawn, in this case with the dog, with Tomica, how to move left and right. You can have the mechanics of jump, of course. We wanted to use this particular level to inform the player how all the controls work and how the mechanics of the scare levels work.
So, because Tomica gets scared, we thought about something like a health bar, but actually the opposite. We called it the scare frame, which grows every time something scares Tomica. It was inspired visually by all those Tim Burton-ish type of tentacles and vines. It had to be something that showed fear, because it's not cool to be a stray dog.
Yeah, so at this stage, this is all that we had in mind for this particular part of the game. The mechanic of fear, we wanted for this to be more or less equal to the way a normal player would expect a health bar to work, like in those old games that you have 3 little hearts on top, and as soon as they disappear, then that is it. We didn't have the ideas that we have now, but this is why we're here, to show you the process from the very beginning.
We decided that the forest should be in the autumn, yes. Not that many games have yellow forests, so it was a good point of start for creating something new and different. The first idea for the game was for it to look like Unravel or Little Nightmares, but we were not that many 3D artists. One of our main inspirations was the Miyazaki movie Spirited Away. Also the game Life is Strange 2, because they had this pretty nature, overall painterly art style.
The other thing that I really wanted to implement in this game, the really beautiful colors that you can see in Rayman. I especially like this game, and the work of Luca Pisano, actually, because we are both fans of Luca Pisano, and the way he handles forms and the style that he has.
We made a list with all the props we wanted in the forest level. So the first thing is this big tree, which we call the mother tree.
The mother tree.
Yes, and of course the picnic table where Tomica is laying. We needed all the vehicles that were gonna scare the dog, like the car and truck, and also how the pipe would look on the outside.
And on the inside.
And of course, the forest has all these things like rock, grass, puddles, there are mountains, skies, and stuff like that. The first things we see in the factory is this interior of the workshop, where workers change their clothes and put their instruments in.
Yes, something like a smaller environment that will eventually lead to the larger environment that is the actual factory itself. So on one end, on the right end of the workshop, we thought about creating another kind of elevated ramp so that Tomica can jump on top and start exploring the factory itself, where you can have steam collectors, you can have steam pipes, and of course the notorious big boss of the level, which is the wheel. After she travels some distance, she passes a pipe that blows steam, and she got scared, which pushes her forward to drop down on an assembly line. And after she falls down, she pushes some objects around that fall and turn a lever to make the whole factory go into overdrive, and that will make the mechanical parts move faster than usual, so that the wheel can drop off and start chasing after our hero dog. So what we call the wheel boss chase actually consists of you running away or trying to run away from the wheel that is constantly chasing you and is very, very huge and is going to crush you. You need to do some kind of combos, like go around some obstacles, jump on crates and do like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 combo of jumping, then crouching under other obstacles, and finally reaching the end of the factory, which if you don't do the combo right, the wheel will press you down and you need to restart. But if you do it right, we were thinking that Tomica could escape from some kind of a hole in the in the end of the factory in the wall and leave all of this big boss chase behind her.
Once again, Spirited Away was our main color palette and art style reference.
We wanted to have lots of pipes, lots of heavy machinery, or at least something that resembles heavy machinery, because everything has to be very industrial. We wanted the whole interior to be very gloomy, by itself scary and not abandoned, but imagine that the day shift has gone away and all of the machines are on idle, so that when the workers come back on the next day, they can start work, but then Tomica comes in and wrecks the place, more or less.
We showed all the props that we needed for the factory, some workshop benches, lockers, the big things like a steam collector and the wheel that will chase you.
The other things that we needed to have were all of these catwalks, the platforms. We could really implement a lot of rustic elements, because everything is made of metal and we can do whatever we like, so why not make it rusty and worn down?
All this stuff that you have in the factory, assembly lines, hooks and chains and boxes, racks and cables, of course the walls and the windows of the factory. And Tomica manages to escape the wheel and ends up in parking, where she finds a sofa, and after all these scary things that happen to her, she lays on it and falls asleep. These are all the levels we thought about. We wanted parking to be in the night. We suppose some time has passed since the wheel chase and pipe entering. Life is Strange 1 has this big parking. We took reference from all these real life references. Basically nighttime and bluish colors. And in the parking you have sofas. In this parking you have a sofa, okay? And shipping containers, lamps and fences, and trash and cars. And finally, but as important as everything that we had to draw for the game, was of course the main character, Tomica. The Dalmatians and this game, Never Alone, were a perfect match for Tomica because she is black and white, and basically she can pop up in front of every colorful environment that we made. So this was the initial idea for the game, and since then many things have changed and will change, because we are continuing to do and to develop this game. And we hope you like this video, and there will be many more in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, you can find us in all those links somewhere down there, yeah. And follow us, because there will be stuff soon. You will learn more about the making of the demo and how it actually was made into a game, and all the drawing process and the engine work process. Yeah, so thank you for watching.
Thank you guys, and see you in the next video.
Yeah.